This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6!
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
That swung at a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
It is so good to be back on A's Cast Live. A's fans, we have absolutely missed you. I know we've been gone for a while, but we are back. We're going to be on today here at the Las Vegas A's Ballpark Experience Center, which is absolutely, it's unbelievable. We're going to take you through it. We had the grand opening yesterday, spectacular. Can't wait to show you all of it. Don't forget, coming up next week, we are going to be live from the winter meetings. We're going to give you about 15 hours of live content from Orlando, Florida. I know this. The A's have put out some contract offers. We're going to see if anything hits by the time we're in Orlando, but we'll have it all covered for you in Florida, the winter meetings. So we'll be back next week. We'll be on for a long, long time. But what you see behind me, I can't wait for all A's fans to come down to Las Vegas and experience this. So I've been around this a little bit back in the day when a ballpark in San Francisco opened up in Ballpark. Then, of course, you had we're around Allegiant Stadium opening here in Vegas, and then Chase Center, the arena, opening in San Francisco. So we have seen how teams have gone about approaching opening a new park, a new arena, a new football stadium. This is by far the most state-of-the-art that we have ever seen. The technology around this experience center, when you come to buy your season tickets or you buy your tickets or you're getting a luxury box, it's going to blow you away. Obviously, as time goes on and technology gets better, we get better at doing these types of things. And what we have seen with what we have here in Las Vegas, it is absolutely second to none. We got some interviews for you today. We're going to talk about this experience center and how you're going to be able to, by appointment, come down here and start looking at what the ballpark's going to be like. I'm telling you, this cube is going to blow your mind. You'll see it in just a little bit. The guy who's run the technology, John, we're going to go through it. Dallas Braden was in there. But you're going to step into this cube because what they used to do, by the way, I heard some crazy stuff because Stephanie Gaywood, who's been fantastic for the A's for many, many years, she used to work for the Marlins. And she talked about yesterday when the Marlins were opening up their new ballpark. Basically, all they had was like a little tent for their center. They didn't have a ballpark center. And they just had this tiny little model of what the ballpark was going to look like in Miami. And she was just like, compared to what that was like and what this is today, it's absolutely unreal. But the technology, wasn't there when they were opening up the ballpark in San Francisco. I remember I was a part of that when I was back on KMBR. What we have now, the way technology is in 2025 as we're heading into 2026, we have the ability to put you in the stadium, to literally put you in. So when you say, I want to buy a ticket here, they have the ability to hit a button and show you exactly where you would be and what it is going to feel like when you're in your seat and the experience all around the ballpark. And it goes beyond that because when you go into this cube, as we call it, you step into it and it can show you all of Las Vegas. It can show you where you live and your route to get to the ballpark. So whether you live in Henderson or you live like where we are in Spring Valley or wherever you live in Las Vegas or in and around somewhere around Las Vegas, you can see where you live and how the route would be to get to the Strip and how you'd get to the ballpark. And then it takes you all around the ballpark, what it's going to look like. The cube, once you can step right in and be in any part of the ballpark, you can even step, and you're going to see a little bit later, we have Dallas Braden in there with John, who's running the cube. And we put Dallas Braden right on top of the mound. And what it would feel like to be on the mound pitching in this ballpark, that's how cool the technology is. And you're going to see Dallas Braden blown away. Behind me, you can see that is the model. We have the ability to take the shell or the dome of the stadium to move it down, move it up. I've moved it up so you can you get to see, but you get to see everything inside. Everything inside the model is hand painted. It's absolutely beautiful. Maybe a little bit later, we'll get a camera, show you down in it, but show you all the different areas that you're going to be able to be inside the ballpark. Now, to the left of the shell, there's a little room here that has bats. It's a bat rack, and you're able to take a bat. Let's say one of them is Ricky Henderson's stolen base record. You take the bat up to home plate and you put it on home plate, and all of a sudden a video appears and it's Ricky Henderson stealing the record base against the New York Yankees. We have everybody on the call. It was great to hear Ray Fosse's voice. Bill King, it's unreal. Dallas Braden yesterday, he has a bat in the back. So you go up and take the perfect game and you put it down, and Dallas Braden is seeing himself throw the perfect game. I watched earlier Dennis Eckersley talk about being an athletic, coming to the A's in his 30s, and that was the perfect time. So you take the Eckersley bat and you tap it on home plate, and all of a sudden it's the video. It's the Bash Brothers. So many great moments, the World Series moments, Vida Blue with his Cy Young. So that is just to the left of what you see there. To the right, I don't think we can really see the elephant. We're going to have a little bit later a project that John Fisher has been a part of about saving elephants in Africa. And we have a piece of artwork of a huge elephant of straw and talking about the migration of elephants and how the ecosystem and keeping elephants healthy and what it does for Africa and what it's doing for around the world. So we'll have an interview on that today. So much to talk about, but it really shows where this thing is going is full head of steam for 2028. We're staying at the MGM Grand, which is right across the street from the new ballpark, and you can already see how the ballpark is going vertical. After this show today, we're going to be going out, putting hard hats on, taking pictures, and seeing it. It's truly spectacular. And I got to tell you, last night, and I can't wait, Marc Badain, the president of the A's, is going to stop by. Last night, after we did all the stuff here, opening up the Ballpark Experience Center, went back to the hotel. And then last night the Knights were taking on the Blackhawks in the NHL and over at T-Mobile. Everything's MGM on the corner, right? Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana. So everything's MGM. So I walked across and I went through New York, and I went to the arena. And I just watched everybody come out of the arena. And just saw the experience of everybody, because it's going to basically be what we have, is watching everybody come out of the arena and go to Park MGM, go to New York, and to see everybody. This is after the game. It's a Tuesday night, so they're going into all the different places that are right outside. Then they're going back into the casino. So I followed them back into New York. Then they went across over back into MGM. I then made the big loop all the way to Aria. And just this whole part of Las Vegas is full of Knights fans, Blackhawk fans. You know, it's not your typical, you go to the game, you walk out of the game, you get into your car and you go home. It is so different. It's such an experience. I don't think there's really, I've been to most ballparks, and I've basically been to every ballpark in Major League Baseball. I've been to every football stadium. I haven't been to every arena, and there's a lot of new arenas since I last traveled around. But what you're going to have where our ballpark is going to be is you're going to leave the ballpark, and you have endless amounts of things to do. Especially when you're thinking about weekend games or even Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're talking about the top steakhouse, top seafood, top. I mean, it's right there. Everything is right there. and to watch how there's going to be, I remember people talked about parking. There's parking everywhere. When you think about what you have at Excalibur, what you have at MGM across the street, and just to see how, because it's basically going to be very similar. We'll probably have a little bit. Cody, what is T-Mobile seat? About 18,000? It's about 18,000 roughly. So we'll have 30. So it's another 12,000 people. But you got to see how fans leave the game. So first of all, I didn't see before the game, but you have everything before the game. You go into the game and then everything out after the game. I mean, I was out pretty late last night and still saw people with hockey jerseys in Aria. They were at the tables. They were in the bars. They were still out having a good time. And it's Tuesday night. So there's going to be endless amount of entertainment. The excitement, though, I can tell you, knowing that what has been established already here with hockey, and now you're going to bring Major League Baseball. And at some point, the NBA will be here too. And obviously, we know about with the Raiders being down here. But having 81 home games in Las Vegas is going to be unreal. So a lot to get into today. I'm glad that we're back on. I know we haven't been on in a while. Back on today. And then, of course, next week, once again, we'll be back live from the winter meetings. Commander Cody's already knocking out of the ballpark. We already got all kinds of managers, a lot of new managers in Major League Baseball. We're going to have all the big names from the winter meetings, all the moves, all the big signings. We've already had some big signings. We've had some crazy signings already. People now saying ERA doesn't matter. Well, you can have a bad ERA and still get a $200 million contract. Yes, it's great to be a Major League Baseball player. All right, Bjarke Ingels, who is the architect of the new ballpark. If you remember, the first time I interviewed him was at FanFest. I want to say it was either in 2018 or 2019. He was going to do the ballpark at Jack London, and that was going to be the park in the park. And I remember I did an interview with him on a panel, and people got to ask questions. He's a fascinating guy as he's designed some of the great buildings around the world. Well, obviously, things switched when everything was coming to Vegas. And when he first came here and he walked the site, then the Tropicana Casino Hotel was still there. They had not blown it up yet. So the first time that he actually stepped on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana, there was a casino there, and he had to see the vision. He had to see, you're going to build a ballpark at the busiest corner in the United States of America. Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard has the most foot traffic of any corner in the United States. And you're now going to build that ballpark. You now have that responsibility. So he had to scrap everything that he did with Jack London, and now he had to re-envision what he'd do on the Las Vegas Strip. Now, of course, if you're going to do a building on the Las Vegas Strip, you got to make something pretty spectacular. Here is my conversation with him yesterday talking about his design. Bjarke, it's been a long time since we last did this, but it is great to see you again. An absolute masterpiece. Just tell us just how much fun it has been to be a part of this project on the Las Vegas Strip.
No, exactly. I think that's really been the kind of key mission of the design, the kind of overarching pennants that create this kind of armadillo-like dome. Even though it actually protects entirely from the Vegas sun, it also opens up entirely to the Vegas Strip. So you have the enormous arched window that frames a view of Hotel New York, MGM, and Excalibur. And you actually have this enormous space that is almost so big that it feels like an outdoor space, and it actually has the daylight and the blue sky from all of those clear stories. So in some way, it's trying to, of course, create the comfort of a conditioned environment, but retaining the energy from the Strip. And also means that from all of the hotels on the Strip, you can actually look through that enormous windows and feel the energy of the game.
You're going to be in your hotel room in Vegas, and you can look down into the game. It's crazy. When you first were given this site, what was it like? Las Vegas Strip. Here you are on one of the busiest corner in the United States of America. What was that like when they handed you this project?
No, but as you know, we spent 5 years rehearsing on the original Oakland site. So it was quite clear that we had to in a way, forget everything that we had thought so far and basically start over. And then, of course, the Vegas Strip is this kind of American architectural invention. It's this kind of collection of artifacts. One of our neighbors is a fairy tale castle. One of them is the skyline of New York. One of them is a pyramid.
The Luxor,
So in that sense, you somehow have an opportunity to provide yet another artifact or let another landmark to this kind of strip of original American landmarks. And I think in that sense, the kind of armadillo architecture really comes from an understanding of what do the players need, what do the fans need, but it produces an artifact that it looks like an armadillo's followed a sphere, right? And in that sense, I think it will really be a truly unique contribution to the kind of conglomeration of landmarks that is Vegas Strip today.
I remember last time we talked about it, you said, I'm going to build something that I don't want it to look like every other ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you feel the same way here.
No, absolutely. And actually, it's interesting when you look at how the bowl is configured. Mm-hmm. It still has this idea of the greatest possible intimacy, bringing every fan as close to the game as possible. And it actually has a remnant of the kind of perimeter park. From Oakland, you can see how the different terraces towards the outfield are interconnected, so that inside it is almost like a connected landscape where all the different experiences come together in a unified element under a unified roof.
Well, if you're going to do something on the Las Vegas Strip, it has to be spectacular, correct?
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't wait. 2028, how fired up are you for 2028 to unveil this to the world?
No, but I was I have to say, we were just walking on the construction site, and you can feel the enormous circle that is the footprint of the 9-acre ballpark, right? So, and it also made me think we've actually been building incredibly fast. Mortensen are going vertically incredibly fast, but 2028 is not very far into the future. So it's probably going to be one of our fastest construction sites when you think about the amount of volume that gets built in such a little amount of time.
You've designed some amazing buildings all around the world, and this is going to be one a lot of people always remember you by. So congratulations on everything. I look forward to having you on opening day in 2028.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Great to see you.
You too.
He's an interesting guy. And I remember when we first did that interview at FanFest years ago, you realized you're dealing with someone really, really special. So, yeah, it's going to be a fast project. But I'll tell you what, being here, obviously, it's like you want it to be done now. That's the funny part. Like a lot of us talking like, God, I wish, 2026. Yes, we're going to enjoy the next 2 years of Sacramento, and we're going to be up there 26 and 27. But it's like, God, I wish we could open this thing right now, especially with the energy that I saw last night when like I said, I got a chance to mingle around after a hockey game to see what it's like, and the energy. It is unbelievable. Here is the elephant that we talked about, and the project that John Fisher, the owner of the Athletics, is a part to saving and preserving elephants around the world. It's absolutely beautiful when you walk in, when you look at this piece of art. This is the first thing that you see. And then we have the scent that they put out right by this elephant. It's about baseball, right? It's about grass. It's about leather. It's to get the smell of baseball. Here is the model of the new stadium. And what's great, this is where it's closed. We have the ability to, and once again, when you come in to look to see where you want to sit in the ballpark, and now you can raise the dome and you can see exactly the experience and where you want to be inside the stadium. Every single piece of this model is put in perfectly, hand painted. It's an unbelievable design. Like I said, as an experience center, we've never seen anything like this, because obviously the Athletics over time have brought people into the fold who are from different organizations and who have opened up different ballparks, or even whether it's arenas or football stadiums. And this is the most state-of-the-art that we have ever seen. When you think about trying to promote ticket sales and to promote a new ballpark that's going to be opening. There's been nothing like this. Well, I mean, let's face it, that's just how time works, right? You get better and better and better. The experiences, I don't know what they did. The first ballpark that everybody thinks about is Camden Yards in the 90s. It'd be very interesting to go back in Baltimore and say, hey, what did you guys do? How did you guys unveil this gym, which still to this day, you can talk about all the different ballparks that have been built, but the standard was Camden Yards when we started breaking away from the multi-purpose cookie cutter, going to play football and going to play baseball there stadiums. Camden Yards, no question, was the model, and to this day is still one of the best. Wonder what they did? I don't know. Ross Bowen is going to join us here in just a little bit. He's actually coming. We just got the text. He's coming from the site, so we're going to get an absolute update on the site, what is happening there, what's really cool. By the way, talking with the designer about how people are going to be able to look, if you're staying at MGM or you're going to be able to look from your hotel room down into the ballpark. That's going to be pretty spectacular. But we're going to get an update on exactly where we are, because we know, talking with John Fisher, the owner, yesterday, we know how much of the concrete that's been poured, it's going vertical. So, the bottom level now leading up to the second level, because it's be multi-level. So, and we can see it. So if you stay at MGM Grand like we do, you can look from when you get out of the elevator, you can look right down into the construction. And I drove by it today, and they had the gates open for trucks, and you could see the construction. It's unbelievable. What do you got, Cody?
I'd say we should play the interview with John Fisher.
You want John Fisher? All right. The owner of the Athletics yesterday, as we opened the Ballpark Experience Center here in Las Vegas, I sat down with John Fisher. Here at the Las Vegas A's baseball ballpark experience with the owner of the Athletics, John Fisher. Last time we talked was at the groundbreaking. To now be at something like this, what was it like for you?
It's pretty amazing. And I just came from the site itself out on the Strip.
Yeah.
And, we're 6 months into construction, and you can see the infield. You can see where right now we've poured what's going to be the suite level, and they're continuing to pour it all along. So the outlines of the stadium are really starting to come out of the ground, and it's exciting just to see that, and then to be able to come to this and see, this is a little bit of what the finished product is going to look like when it opens just a little more than 2 years from now, incredibly quickly. But what we call this an experience center because we want people to see in each one of these little areas, whether it's the cube or it's the elephant in the front or it's the bat room or it's the bobblehead room, a little bit of the fun and excitement that we're going to be bringing to the ballpark.
Yeah, taking a picture with the bobblehead, no question, is a must. But the cube, the technology is the star of the experience center. You go in there, and you're in Las Vegas, the city. Next thing you know, you're in the stadium. Yeah. You can go so when you're going to come by your ticket, you can see exactly where your seat, where your ticket, where your luxury suite. Talk about the technology, because we've never seen this before.
Well, when you mention it, it reminds me of this movie that I would watch. And, and the star of the movie, all he had to do was think about where he wanted to go, and he would end up there. And in this, you have to do a little more than think. You need to tell the operator, here's where I want to go. But it is an incredible, thank you for describing it as well as you did. It's an incredible example. First of all, it's an incredible example of human ingenuity and technology, that you can create something that is so amazingly representative of what the actual experience is going to be. But to be standing above a map of Las Vegas and to be able to look above you and see everything around you, and then with the push of a button, all of a sudden you're right outside the stadium, and then another button, you're inside, then you're in a suite, then you're in a club. It gives a great, it's a great example of what the stadium is actually going to feel like, which is what's our goal.
You press the button and they have you on the mound. Yeah. Like you're pitching. You'll know, you feel like if you were pitching to be in the stadium. And we've seen quite a few stadiums and arenas go up, and we've seen how people have tried to sell seats. We've never seen it with this type of technology.
Yeah, I mean, when it was first pitched to me, and I said to John of Advent, I said, so how many other stadiums have you done this for?
0.
And the answer was 0. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he told me, he told me the price, and I was like, oh, okay. But then to actually see it in person, it was worth taking the chance. He was so right on what it could be, and how much kind of our fans would enjoy being able to go into it and to kind of feel like they were transporting themselves, all around the place.
Yeah, and this experience center, there's so many different things that you can look at. There's a model where the roof comes up and you can actually look inside. I also think the elephant is absolutely beautiful. I know it means a lot to you, and talking about the migration of elephants and saving elephants, and something that's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, well, this is Giving Tuesday, and so our support for what's called it's a nonprofit called the Elephant Migration. Is something that is important, not just to me, but elephants are hugely important as a species and what they represent.
The ecosystem,
for humankind, and for our team, our mascot has been the elephant since 1903, 1902, when John McGraw said that we had a white elephant on our hands, and Connie Mack said, "Yeah, I like that." Which kind of is, it's sort of a representative of the fact that the A's like to laugh at themselves. And, for me, professional sports, people think of it as big business. And of course it is. But when you talk to these guys who are out there playing, whether it's, Nick Kurtz or Mark Kotze is our manager, they're doing it because they love the game. There's still little kids out on the field playing a kid's game. And we want to bring that to this community, this appreciation for the fact that it's a game and it's fun and it's played by kids, whether those kids are 28 years old or they're 11.
When you walk out now and you see the ballpark going vertical, how does it feel? How does it feel for you when you see the ballpark going out?
It feels like, wow, this is real.
Yeah, it's real.
I mean, the A's have needed a new ballpark for a long time. That's no secret, and it's very difficult to do these projects. But to be there, to see it, as you said, coming out of the ground, knowing that in 2 short years we're going to have a completed building, and and to walk around the site, which I hope you'll do soon. And we have 300 people, mostly locals, who are working on the site. And we're going to get up to 1,800 workers. And each one of them has such pride in being part of this. It's really, like I go up and I shake somebody's hand and they tell me, they're an iron worker, or they do concrete work, or they're part of the crane operator, or they're doing the rebar, it just, that part gives me incredible excitement. It's not just seeing the building and what it's going to be. Like everything in life, it's about the process, not just a finished product. And to see that and to see the pride that all these people are taking and building it, that makes me happy.
Let's end on this. How excited are you for the upcoming season with all this great young talent? Got some veteran talent. I know you watch every single night. I know you show up to so many games. How much are you looking forward to 2026?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think about all the players on our team, and I think about the second half of last season in particular. And it took a little while for us to get our sea legs, but then, I think we really hit our stride in the second half of the season. And, you saw it better than anyone. Like, to see our young players and do the kind of spectacular things they were doing. Not just, these are good ball players for young guys, but these ball players are doing things that are the best in the league. I mean, we have the number 1 in Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson, number 1 and number 2 rookie of the year candidates or winners, number 1 and number 2. We had the catch of the year by Denzel Clark. We were able to sign Lawrence Butler and Brett Rooker to long-term contracts. I mean, to see what Shea Langoliers did last year, I don't want to single any players out because we have so many amazing players on our team that are growing into their own and that are just hitting the ground running. It's I'm just really, really excited. And, Sacramento is a great community. It's a great place to watch a game. I mean, I don't think people quite understand that being able to watch a game in a minor league ballpark is something you don't get to see very often.
You're right on top.
And we have two series that are coming to Las Vegas. Real games, not spring training, but we'll be playing the Milwaukee Brewers and the Colorado Rockies in June in Vegas at the Las Vegas Ballpark. And again, a minor league facility, an amazing minor league facility. But to be able to come and see big league games in a tiny, intimate setting like that is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. What we're building, I think, is fantastic. I love it. That's 30,000 seats. Still the smallest ballpark by far in baseball, but being able to watch a game in front of 10,000 fans, that's unique.
Oh, it's special. Happy holidays to you and your family. And next time we see you will be spring training.
Yes, we appreciate everything you're doing.
Appreciate the time. This is spectacular.
Thanks.
The owner, John Fisher. Yeah, those games in June. It's going to be what, the Brewers? Who are we taking on, the Brewers and
the Rock Pile
and the Rockies
at Podesta
at Las Vegas Ballpark. So we're no stranger, right? We've done Big League Weekend a couple times. If you remember, our first Big League Weekend that we did here on A's Cast was one that I don't think we'll ever forget, taking on then the Cleveland Guardians. And I remember we had on Sandy Alomar Jr., who Sandy Alomar Jr. was one of the great AAA ball players here in Las Vegas. I believe he has a statue or a plaque somewhere around the ball. Is it a statue or is it a plaque? When he was playing for the Padres, he was all world. And obviously he was one of the best catchers in all of baseball, but he was being blocked by Benito Santiago. And not having the DH in the National League, they didn't know what to do with him. So he just stayed in Vegas. He was one of the best players in baseball, but he was in AAA. So I remember we did that interview when we played against the Guardians, and right after that, COVID hit, and we were shut down. It was 2020. We were shut down right after that. Spring training ended, and we all remember what happened. So that was our first time coming to the ballpark and broadcasting at the ballpark, and then we did it last year. Was it last year that we were 2 years ago? We were here for Big League Weekend.
Last year.
Was it last year? Yeah, we were here last year. Las Vegas Ballpark. I mean, it's like something like a $70 million facility. It is like, you actually look at it and you're like, man, if you just had stands down the right field line and you could put some out in left center, I'm like, you could make this a big league ballpark. So if you get a chance, I'm telling you, it will not disappoint. And the Red Rock Casino Hotel, which is literally right across the street, beautiful casino, great restaurants. That is going to be a must come to see. I mean, what Big League Baseball. And yes, I agree. It's been very interesting seeing, because we were so used to Major League Baseball in what? Football stadiums. That's what my generation grew up with. So I know some people at Major League Ballpark. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. And I'm not trying to sell you on anything. My generation, when you went to a game in San Francisco, you were playing in a ballpark where the Niners and Giants played. That was not built for baseball. If you went down to San Diego, that was built for more football. For baseball, it was built for the Chargers, right? If you went to Anaheim, that was built for football. That wasn't built for the Angels. That was built for the Rams. Everywhere you went, Three Rivers, Riverfront, you went to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minnesota. That was not built for the Twins. That was built for the Vikings. Everywhere we went in baseball when I was growing up, they weren't baseball ballparks. Then we talked about Camden Yards came along, and now we started really building ballparks just for baseball. and we weren't building parks that were multi-facility for the standpoint of being able to have both football and baseball. You remember the original Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, Yankee Stadium? They were all, both teams played. You had football and Major League Baseball play there. So really was Camden Yards got us started in the generation of let's build baseball ballparks for only baseball. I got to look up at the fancy title because it's the first time having him. Vice President of Ballpark Development. Ross Bowen has been somebody who has come into our lives, and we realized when he came into the athletics that this was the guy that was going to get the ballpark done. You can have a lot of different things going on. You can have press conferences. You can have press releases. You can have, but somebody has got to get the ballpark built from the ground up. And this is the man who is getting it done. Ever since you've come in, you have been great to us. This is our first chance to finally have you on A's Cast Live. We're introducing you really to the fan base for the first time. And this has to be this center opening up. You've just come from the site. We'll get into that. But this center opening up, this is like the start of this thing's happening, and it's happening in 2028.
It is. Well, thanks for having me on, Towny. It's been a long time coming, so glad to be here. This is special. I mean, I think as soon as relocation got approved, one of the first things we knew we had to do is kind of put a tent pole in market, right? And we've been working on this. We toured this space probably 20 months ago when we were looking at a bunch of different areas to put our experience center, knowing that we didn't have a physical presence in Vegas yet, and we needed to do that to build that fan base up and to start selling tickets and to talk to partners. And it's fun to see that come to fruition today. And it'll be a great tool for all the sales folks, for the entire organization. I mean, I think it was fun to open it up to the staff yesterday, give them that sneak peek and really kind of see what we've been working on, because a lot of them are working hard in Sacramento and back in the Bay Area. And so it's great to see people come out here, see everything that's going on, and kind of see the progress every time.
Now, I know what I'm about to say has nothing to do with selling tickets. It's selling players. It was one of the first things I thought about when I came in here, because if you're a player and you're a potential free agent and the ballpark is not quite built yet, but you're interested, obviously, in playing in Las Vegas, having talked with agents, I remember from my NFL days when the NFL was coming here, obviously players were now very interested. We're going to have a lot of players that are interested in coming to play for the Las Vegas A's. This is a place not only to bring people to tickets and luxury boxes and all. I believe this is a place that you can bring potential free agents to and say, hey, what are you signing up for? Let's put you in a cube and show you what the ballpark looks like. We had Dallas Braden on the mound going, this is what it'd be like from home plate, but then you can get to see the model. I think, what do you think about this place to bring free agents?
It's a sales tool for the whole organization, right? And we want everyone to be able to use it. Talking to Forrest and Kotze here, I mean, we had Brent Rooker out here 2 weeks ago, gave him a sneak peek when he was out here for Formula One, and he was blown away by it. He was with his wife, Allie, and I think Allie was immediately trying to call the rest of the players and the players' wives to get them out here just to see what we were doing. So, again, it's a great moment for the organization, and I think it's a great tool to show off both the history and then the current and where we're going in the future.
All right, let's talk about your goal of getting this ballpark done, as now we start to see it go vertical, which everybody's thrilled about. But it's been a very long process, right? You had to establish the site. You had to demolish a hotel and casino. I remember going to the Tropicana when I was like 20. When we came to San Jose State and played UNLV, I remember going to the Tropicana years ago. But you had to demolish a casino, clear it out, get the dirt ready to go. Then we had the groundbreaking. What has that whole process been like for you?
It's been a journey, but a great one. We started design work in earnest after we got our public money in Carson City in kind of mid-2023, right? So the design process has been going on for almost 2.5 years now. It takes a long time to get through every aspect of the ballpark. And we hired our architects, construction firm, kind of everyone late 2023 to get this thing going, right? These projects do not happen overnight. And it's a long process. And obviously, once we get out there, it's fun to see it go from paper to actually in person. You know, it's been 5 months since groundbreaking. We had a bunch of MLB officials here 2 weeks ago for the All MLB Awards. Commissioner Manfred was out and was shocked at the progress in the last 4.5 months. And So it's fun to see. The site is changing every day. I was just back over there, and they're already pouring columns to get up to main concourse. So there's more changing. I think we've got 300, 400, 500 people there daily. It'll get up to 1,500 to 2,000 people in the middle of the project when we're kind of full going. But it's moving. We got to give a lot of credit to all the workers out here in Vegas. The unions have been huge supporters of us as we've gotten here, and their work shows. They get this thing going, and it's moving quickly.
I remember John Fisher at the end of the season was, because we're like, construction's happening, but people couldn't see anything because you had to, the columns go down so far. And I guess there was like X-ray kind of type things where you could see them, but something that we weren't going to show on A's Cast Live. But this has been construction's been going on for a long time. Talk about how far down deep, because it's basically to stabilize the ballpark, how far you had to go down, and it's like going through like hard rock clay. Yeah, those columns.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot more work on site than just what's going on right now. We started grading the site back in April to get ready for groundbreaking. So even when groundbreaking started, the site was starting to get graded at the elevations for where the actual ballpark will sit. And then over the last 5 months, the foundations, which we just completed, we've over 1,000 piles that have gone under the ground or gone into the ground anywhere from 55 to 85 feet down. That'll actually provide all the support for the stadium. So everything you see that's coming up now is all supported through that whole foundation layer. And so they start to build the cake. They build the stadium almost like a wedding cake. So they've worked all the way around the bottom level. They've started behind home plate, started pouring the lower concourse. We'll keep working your way out. So as you see on the webcam, it'll keep working that lower concrete. Now they're already starting to build columns up to main concourse. Once they start that, they'll start pouring all that and then kind of keep going up from there.
So we're getting up to the main level.
Yep.
And then so basically you'd be able to see that in our model. Exactly. That's a lot of concrete already.
Yeah. They're moving quickly. It's a step by step. They've got every process is down to the day in terms of where they're working on it. I would say these guys are probably slightly ahead of schedule right now, in a good way. So everything has been,
knock on wood, and here's some wood over here. Knock on some wood here.
Exactly. I'll be.
Isn't that amazing about Las Vegas though, compared to a lot of other states? I mean, obviously, building here is what they do. There's always building going on, and as you said, we're so used to things being delayed. They're ahead of schedule. Well, building, that's what they do here.
It is, and we didn't need to reinvent the wheel. The team that built Allegiant is a lot of the same team members that we have on our project, right? That's been a resounding success out here in Vegas, and they know how to do it. They got that project done on time, on budget, during COVID, and finishing up the last bit of it, through the last few months of COVID. So we wanted to hire a lot of the same JV, a lot of the same workers. They've got those relationships. They have the relationships with the county to get the permits done. We have relationships with the workers and the subcontractors. And so it's a great cohesive unit that have all worked together and kind of know how to get this all done.
And that's also one of the big things for you is when you talk about all the different logistics, when you talk about all the permits and everything you're dealing with city and county and I don't know, state, I mean, everything that talk about how that process, that's really a main thing for you. And you joked yesterday in the presentation, because we basically had this massive presentation. We had all the employees of the Athletics, because we're now in different spots. We have employees here in Las Vegas. We have employees in Sacramento. We have employees still down in Arizona and Mesa at our spring training site. We still have some in the Bay Area. Brought everybody down here. And as you said, yeah, there's things I have sleepless nights because there's still the things that need, you got to get these things all approved.
For sure. It'll be sleepless nights until we open this thing, and probably after, but everything's continued. The county has been a phenomenal partner. I mean, since day one, when we came here, Commissioner Gibson, who our site sits in his district, he's been a phenomenal partner. Everyone at the county staff, they know how to get things done. And they've been great partners throughout this and making sure that we know how to operate here. We didn't want to come in and kind of tell them how we're used to operating. Want to make sure that we're, we understand how things get done here and work as a partner, right? And that started with the public bill up in Carson City and all the way down to the county here. And everyone has worked, steadfast on this project, and everyone's excited to see it come, right? These things are big economic drivers for the region. There's a reason they wanted to, invest in this project. for all the economic benefits and for the sense of pride that it brings to the community.
I got to see it last night. So I waited till the end of the game between the Knights and the Blackhawks. So I walked across. I'm at MGM. I walked through New York, and I went to T-Mobile, and I just kind of stood there and I watched all the fans come out because I wanted to see this for myself. And I watched them all come out, and they've got this big brew house that's connected to New York. And then Park MGM has their stuff, and you just watch them come out. And then I followed them into New York, and all the places in New York are slammed. And then, so I did that for a while. Then I walked across the catwalk, or whatever you want to call it, the crossway, and I followed all the fans as now they went into MGM. Later, I went down to Aria, and Aria is spectacular.
It's great.
Yeah, Ari's
favorite hotel. Yeah. Definitely one of the favorites.
Maestro's, the Ocean Maestro. This is now like 11:30 at night. The game's been over for well over an hour, and you see Blackhawk jerseys. You got Knights jerseys. It's a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I'm doing the walkover, and I'm walking from New York to MGM, I see our site.
Yep.
I didn't realize there's a church on the back end.
Yes.
We're being blessed. I realized that.
Might have to go pray on Sundays.
But I stood there as I stood there and I went, I get it. I see our ballpark is there. It's right on the busiest corner. Everybody's going to, before the game, and there's going to be plenty of parking. There's parking everywhere. I was thinking about the Excalibur and MGM where we're all parking, plenty of parking. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, I get it. All these people will be here before the game. They're going to go into the game. And then after the game, they're all going to flood back out. And on a Tuesday, all the restaurants in New York last night were packed after the game.
Yeah. No, the site, day one when we went to that site, it was a favorite, right? It's the busiest intersection in Las Vegas. It has phenomenal traffic for both locals and tourists, right? One of the things the locals love about the Golden Knights is they can get in and out of T-Mobile without actually having to go to the congestion of the Strip.
Yeah.
A lot of the same traffic patterns will happen for our ballpark. Locals can come up Las Vegas Boulevard and duck into what will be a parking garage on the southeast side of the stadium and kind of get in and out quickly. But you're also right there for tourists, right? As someone who wants to stay at MGM Grand, you walk across a bridge and you're there. So you get the advantage of all that foot traffic. And look, we're on one of the most iconic corners, and we're on Las Vegas Boulevard, right? When people are flying into the airport, they're going to see our ballpark as one of the first things they see. It's one of the reasons we knew we had to create something that was different. We couldn't just build a run-of-the-mill ballpark. We needed to design something that would catch people's attention because there's a lot of other competition for their attention. And we wanted to build something that locals in Vegas would also be proud of, right? And bring a architectural moment to that corner of the Strip.
What have you learned about Las Vegas here? And now you've been here a long time and you're living here. What have you learned that you didn't know, that something that was like, oh, I didn't realize it was like that down here?
The people are passionate about everything. They love this town. I think most people, when I first started coming to Las Vegas, people kind of looked at me a little skeptical and said, oh, wait, you're going to move to Las Vegas. And the people here have been phenomenal. Every single person offers their help. They ask how they can help. They love this town, and they want people who are going to invest in this town. And that's been great to see. And we've obviously seen the fan perspective, the support. They love their sports teams, right? We've known it with the Aviators for years as we've been their affiliate. The Golden Knights have done phenomenal. The Raiders, even despite playing the field, have done phenomenal. And people love them. The Aces, right? You look at I think they've sold out. They have some sellout record for WNBA, right? People love to be entertained here. And we have to provide that entertainment. But if we become a partner to the community like they expect us to be, I think we'll rally that fan support and people are going to be good.
Yeah, the Aviators and Fran Reardon and what they've been able to do, Don Logan and what they've been able to do with the Aviators. I was just talking about that ballpark, absolutely beautiful. How cool are the 6 games we're going to play here? And I'm assuming we'll play again here in 2027.
That's the goal, right? And it's the continual progression of getting us here in market, right? It's a reminder that yes, we're 2 years away, but that 2 years is going to come really quickly. And we want people to become A's fans now and to see the players that we have, the Nick Kurtz, the Jacob Wilsons, Lawrence Butlers, Brent Rooker, everyone, Tyler, they came through here, right? They all played games in Vegas, and the fans knew them, and we want them to continue to follow them. And so bringing Major League Baseball here is going to be phenomenal, just as a tool for the fans to, see our players in action in a phenomenal stadium, and give them a taste of what Major League Baseball is going to be like here in 2028.
For you, the timeline going forward, as we're now hitting into 2026, as we're watching the ballpark camera, what can fans start to see a little bit more of as the ballpark goes vertical?
So you'll keep seeing all the pouring of the lower concourse. So that'll all start. We've got a split lower bowl, much like Globe Life. So you'll start to see that lower concourse come to fruition. They'll start building up to main concourse kind of mid next year is when they'll actually start to see steel coming up. So right around when we're probably playing out here, we may have that first steel for one of the pennants coming up. So we'll start to see some of that coming up, and just kind of continual progress as this thing keeps coming out of the ground.
So it was explained to me yesterday, as we look, if you can look back and you can see the model, that a couple of the support beams that are going to support it, we should at some points, there's like 2 of them, I guess we're going to see first.
Yeah, one of the buttresses is already up and formed. You can see that's down kind of in the southwest portion of the site, and they keep kind of forming them. Those will basically be the large concrete and steel that'll hold up the steel pennants that'll make up the roof structure.
All right, this man, by the way, trying to get the ballpark built at the same time, just had his 3rd child. He had twins, goes again, didn't have twins, but now you got 3. You're outnumbered now.
I am.
It's a whole different ball game.
I've been outnumbered for a while now. So
yeah.
We got a lot of, 3 girls, which is awesome. It's been fun. As much as this project is fun, it's been great to see them grow up.
Traveling has officially changed for the rest of your life now that you have 3 kids.
A little more complicated these days.
So we both have twins. I didn't go again. I was cool with just twins. You win again. I'm very impressed.
I appreciate that.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I'll need it.
Good luck. Your favorite part, we'll end on this. Your favorite part of the Experience Center.
I mean, the cube is, I don't want to, it's probably the favorite, but one of the things we wanted to do is do something different, right? We're doing something different with the ballpark. We want to do something different with the Experience Center. Most Experience Centers build out a suite or a few seating products. They let you kind of sit in it and see what that might experience. We have so many unique products that we designed in this ballpark because we want to cater to fan interests across the spectrum. And the cube allows us to do that and show people and put them in a specific area in the ballpark that is unique to them. And it'll be a sales tool that we can use for the next, 2 years across the ballpark. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a really great moment for fans to come in and be able to see that.
All right. The cube, like we were working at the flagship station of the Warriors when the Warriors were opening up Chase Center, and they built out actual suites at their Experience. So you'd walk into actual suite and go, this is what the suite. Well, this technology didn't exist at the time. So it's nothing against the Warriors. This technology didn't exist. So if you wanted a suite, you would actually go into this suite that they built. It kind of felt like you're in a suite, but you're not in the arena. Yep. It was very, I get what they were trying to do, but like I said, the technology wasn't available. Let's throw it to, I got a chance to go into the cube. By the way, thank you for everything you've done. Continued. I love hearing we're ahead of schedule. Happy holidays to you and the family.
Appreciate it.
And then next time, you got to come on spring training. We need a new update in spring training.
All right. And then we'll get you out to we got to do one of these from the site.
By the way, can we go out to the site today?
Put your hard hat on.
Can we go today?
Probably.
Can we go over? Cody, you want to go today and take some pictures?
Cody's leaving.
I'm in. We're going to the site today. All right. Let's throw it to John, who operates the cube. We've been talking about the star of the show is the cube. Now you get to see it. Star of the show, no question here at the Las Vegas A's Ballpark Experience is this right here. John, and you're running it for us. Take us through, what is this called? What are we looking at?
So this is the immersive cube, this incredible 5-sided immersive LED box that really starts to tell the story of this incredible Las Vegas ballpark.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, let's try. I want to go to the view first where we see of all of Vegas.
Sure.
So you get an idea exactly where the ballpark is on the strip. Obviously, a lot of iconic, when you start to think of like iconic casinos that everybody knows, you see the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, MGM Grand. You're going to be able to see MGM Grand, New York, New York. You're going to see more of New York at this ballpark than you actually, if you were a Mets or Yankees fan in New York, you'll see more New York here. But the backdrop is really incredible. Give you an idea of where the ballpark is situated, right on the Las Vegas Strip. The busiest section in the United States of America, right there. More foot traffic at that section than anywhere in the United States.
Right, really unique kind of location of that ballpark. And of course, it's Vegas, so we can see it in the evening as well.
No, that is awesome. Hey-o! So you can start to see how you can even get to the ballpark.
Absolutely. I think those kind of arrival moments, those connective moments are so important in terms of telling a story of this incredible venue. So we can start to talk about connectivity to interstates, how close it is to kind of, California, moving north.
So if you're a fan coming here and you're looking to buy season tickets and you live in the area, you'll start to have an idea of how you'll get to the ballpark, where you're going to park. Before we're going to show you what the ballpark is going to look like, you're going to have an idea of what your experience. We're talking about a ballpark experience, right?
Absolutely.
This is the experience of how you're going to get to the ball, wherever you live in Vegas, or in and around Vegas.
Absolutely. Or even flying in domestically or private.
Yeah,
we can tell all of those stories within this space.
All right, let's get into the ballpark.
Okay, so let's go and stand on pitcher's mound, and let's look straight down to home plate.
So as we just had Dallas Braden just up here pitching, I mean, you feel like you were right there. You start to see where the suites and how close the fans are going to be. And you can just tell how bright it's going to be inside the stadium. It is unreal. But when you're in this cube, you get the sense you're truly at the ballpark.
Right. I think the unique aspect and characteristics of this cube and why we engineered it to do exactly that, to bring to space, to bring to life these spaces, to make people feel as if they were really there. Right? Again, we've got 2.5 years before this ballpark comes out of the ground and it's open to the public. So using this technology, we can stand anywhere we like within this ballpark and engage various audiences with that story.
So we've seen other franchises open venues. I mean, like Allegiant Stadium down the street with the Raiders. I mean, we saw it in San Francisco with Chase Center. Nobody had this. How new is this technology that we're going to be seeing here at the Ballpark Experience?
So I would say this is the only one in the US, right? And it's certainly the only one in the US is doing what this immersive cube is doing right now.
Unbelievable. All right, take us around. So you're going to. So when people come in here, where do you want to buy your seat? If we want to go to a luxury suite, give you an idea.
Well, let's go into one of the owner's suites, which I think is just the epitome of kind of the premium experience here. And let's stand within this remarkable.
Yeah, so you get an idea of what it'll be like for your suite.
Right. And of course, it's hard to pick up on camera, but it does feel like we're really in this.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking right beyond the incredible sushi platters here, and it feels you're like behind the catcher. Like if the umpire needed to sneeze, you could call balls and strikes for him.
Right. But we can even move in closer to that field view as well. It's an important part of the sales process. Here we are, right on the edge of this owner suite, looking right down.
This would be your view if you had the suite, and then if you look off to the right and left to see how other people would be around you.
Yeah.
You are really getting a sense, I am in this suite. We've never seen anything like this before.
Right. So unique. So unique. And again, the ability of this space to bring to life that kind of environment and that storytelling is something special.
Eventually, will you be able to basically go to any seat in the house and show where your season ticket will be?
That's the plan. Okay. That's the plan. So as those kind of tranches of seats become available, we'll load those into the cube. And again, you'll be able to pick a seat and have a look at your view directly from this from that vantage point.
So this is like an evolving process here. This will evolve as the ballpark continues to evolve.
Absolutely. And we built in, without taking a deep dive in it, we built in technologies that allow the A's to very quickly personalize some of those tools, right? When they're engaging sponsor partners, naming rights partners, they can bring those brands into this space in a very dynamic way. It doesn't take days, it takes minutes to do.
And quickly, Dallas, I was thinking from a player's standpoint, we're going to show everything here at the Ballpark Experience, but this is also a place you can bring free agents in. You're trying to sell people, hey, what's it going to be like to play here? You could bring a player in here into this cube and say, this is what your home, this is what your field will look like.
Well, and I think that's what every player wants to be able to sink their teeth into before they have to maybe get on an airplane or whatever it is and get into the building, an opportunity to sort of immerse yourself in the building prior to that. I think it really opens your eyes to what you would be, like, as you said, Towny, walking into and the place that you would eventually be calling home. So if there's any questions about dimensions or just sort of where my family might be sitting, this is a great opportunity to get a taste of that. And if you have any other questions about the environment you're playing in, and as we said, as this evolves along the ballpark, you'll be able to probably be down on the field and take a look at things in a different perspective. Like this is big time.
So for you, showing off this technology, what is it like, the reaction you're getting from all these fans who are seeing this technology for the first time?
It's a great question. I think it kind of validates the vision that we had, right, in conjunction with the A's. The A's wanted something special. They wanted something unique. They wanted to make a statement, right? They wanted something that was uniquely Vegas. And I think as a team, we've nailed that. Yeah, I feel very proud standing here. And I think, the vision in reality is something to see.
You should be proud. Yeah, this is amazing. John, thank you so much for the time.
So much.
We appreciate
it. Thank you.
Yeah, it is the star. When I first saw it and you look into it, and it's actually right behind where we're filming right now. Like you go in and the way it moves, it's like you're in the ballpark. And what's going to be great is, and like to having Dallas Braden standing on the mound, it's like you feel like you're on the mound. It's unbelievable. And obviously this is new technology. So all of these different franchises that have opened up new ballparks, new arenas, new football stadiums, this technology wasn't available. So this is something that's new, and I'm sure years from now they'll perfect it even more. But the fact that when you come into the ballpark experience here in Las Vegas, and you're going to look, and you're behind us, you see the model, and you're going to say, okay, I my price range, and I want to sit there. You're going to be able to walk into the cube, and you're going to look at the section that you want to be in. They press a button, boom, you're going to basically be in your seat. And you're going to be looking out at the stadium, and you're going to see and feel what it will be like to be in that seat. So whether you're behind home plate, you're down the right field line, left field line, right center, left field, there's a really cool area. I think it's going to be called like the barrel, and you're going to be out in right center, and it's going to be the glass in front of you. And essentially, it's going to be like sitting on the glass at a hockey game. If you've ever had a chance to sit on the glass, it's like you're right there on it. So if a player's coming back to try and rob a home run, wham, he's going to run right into the glass. It's going to be right in front of you. Everything is built for the fan to have a great experience. So when time comes, come here to the Experience Center, and you'll have an opportunity to tour everything and a chance to hopefully get your season tickets, luxury suites, whatever you'd like to do. But you'll be able to go into this cube, and you'll be able to experience something like you've never had before. That's why it's great. When we were going in to do the interview, Dallas Braden just came in. We didn't know Dallas was going to be there. So then to have Dallas experience us, by the way, the bobblehead that you're seeing here, you move the bobblehead. What do they call it? Is he Billy or Bob the bobblehead? I can't remember the name.
I think it was Billy.
Billy the bobblehead. After Billy Bean. You do the bobblehead and take the picture. It's absolutely great. Can we show the experience where you take the bat rack, and it goes to a video of something great in A's history? So this room, so you see each one of these bats signifies something great that's happened in A's history. I wish we had the footage of stuff. It would have been really cool if we had stuff from Philadelphia, but obviously it doesn't exist. But, our history in Philadelphia with the championships and the Hall of Famers, we just don't have it. But what you do is you look at something great that's happened in A's history. You take the bat off the bat rack, and then you take the bat and you're going to go to the home plate, and you hit home plate, and whatever moment that the bat you took off the bat rack, let's say it's Ricky Henderson's record stolen base, or it's Nick Kurtz 4 home runs is in there. You hit the home plate with the bat, the Nick Kurtz bat, and then the video pops up and it plays. Do we have that? Because you got to see it. It's like I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. I got to do it today when nobody was in here.
I have the Dallas Braden.
All right, so Dallas Braden obviously threw a perfect game, 2010 on Mother's Day. So the bat is there. So Dallas Braden picks up his highlight bat. Here, let's take a look.
5-1.
Swung on his ground ball to short. Taken there. Pennington's got it. He throws a perfect game. Dallas Braden has thrown a perfect game. The A's have beaten Tampa Bay 4-0. The kid from Stockton has done it for the A's.
It's insane. Throwing him back on the mound.
You can't oversell it. It is so special. You go into that room and it has, like earlier today, there's one on Dennis Eckersley. And I took out the Dennis Eckersley bat, put it down on home plate, and then boom, Dennis Eckersley pops out. I mean, it's like immediate. You touch home plate and the video pops up. Vita Blue, it's got stuff with Jason Giambi. It's got the 3 World Series. Obviously, Dallas Braden, Ricky Henderson, the Nick Kurtz game. It's technology going on right now that is unbelievable, that we've never seen before in an experience center. It is the ultimate experience center. And to have Dallas Braden go up and do that, and to see himself, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I want to get you the story about the elephant that you'll see when you first walk in, the art piece. It's very, very special. Let's give you the background on how it came to be here at the front of the Experience Center. Please tell us the backstory about it and what is happening right now with the athletics.
Yeah, so this particular elephant is an African elephant that's part of a 100 Asian elephant herd. And this elephant, Edie, was trapped in a well and was saved by the Sheldrick Trust. And she's been living with them, living in the wild, roaming free. Now she has 4 cows of her own.
Wow.
But the bigger story about these elephants, this herd, is one of migration. Mm-hmm. Right? Elephants are meant to move, they're meant to roam, and they never forget where they came from and where they're going to get water and food. But these elephants, their habitat was taken over by the material that they're made out of, which is a lantana weed that pushed them out of the forest, so they started moving in with the locals. And because of that, we noticed how the locals weren't having the type of conflict that you see in other areas. They actually knew the elephants and knew how to live with them. And so we wanted to shine a light on their story to show other communities around the world who live with wildlife how you can actually coexist. So when you think of migration, when you think of the A's moving,
yes, yeah,
from all the way from Philadelphia, now in Oakland, Sacramento to Vegas, that's the story of migration.
Yeah.
When I first heard about the A's wanting to get elephants, I was like, oh, yeah, of course. it's an obvious
Obviously
story.
The mascot Stomper,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly, the Stomper, and it's the obvious story of migration, of what you're going through right now. But the story of migration is one where it's one of belonging, it's building community. Elephants, the reason why they're loved is they're flagship animals, right? And when an elephant can roam free and roam, they lift everyone else up. And the fact that you're bringing a sports team here, imagine what that's going to do to lift the entire community up. So I think it's such a cohesive, perfect narrative that we got really excited about when you wanted to connect this story to your own.
When you talk about John Fisher, the owner, he really got into this story and investing into these elephants. Tell us about the A's helping out with this.
I mean, it's incredible. So these elephants, it's not just an art exhibition, right? When these elephants are purchased, it actually goes back to the community that makes them, changes their entire livelihood. This material is also being used to pull out of the forest, but it's turning into materials that can actually help with climate and all these other issues. The stories run much, much deeper. The sale of these elephants supports other coexistence initiatives in Africa, in Kenya, with the Maasai, who are bringing back the lions population. Right here in the U.S., you have the Blackfoot, who are bringing back the buffalo population from Montana all the way up. And we've been helping to support their efforts to teach other communities around the world who may not know how to live with wildlife. And so that project really tries to connect and lift the stories up of all these communities and really get us to a place where we can coexist in a way that's beautiful.
It's an unbelievable story. Just like the A's coming to the desert in 2028, an unbelievable story. Continue to the great work. Yeah. We'd love to catch up with you again.
Absolutely. Thanks for your support.
So that is the backstory of the elephant you will see when you walk in to the Experience Center, as it will continue an effort by the Fisher family to help rescue and save elephants really around the world. So if you want a chance to come to the Experience Center and you want to get your appointment, you go to A's Twitter right now. You also go to the A's website and you can book an appointment and you can come in and start getting ready for it. And like I said, we're going to be next week. We're going to be back on. Sorry, we haven't been on, but we are back on obviously today and all next week. We're going to be on the winter meeting in Orlando. We're going to give you about 15 hours of baseball coverage. I know the comments are back on. So people have commented about Dylan Cease. What do you think about the Dylan Cease? What do I think about the Dylan Cease? I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely crazy that we're in a world right now where you look at numbers and people have a shell game with numbers, right? The shell game of, does he strike people out? Yeah, he strikes people out. He's 29 years old. I know the contract's going to go into his mid-30s, but he strikes people out. Well, how do you explain that away from Petco Park? Last time I checked, Petco Park in San Diego is one of the best pitchers' ballparks that we have in our game. You take him outside of Petco Park, he had a 5.55 ERA. That's shocking to me. What pitcher do you want to have a 5.55 ERA on the road and you're paying him $200 million? Oh, by the way, let's not forget, now that you go into the AL East, you're now going to be pitching all of your home games in Toronto. You're going to be playing in New York. You're going to be playing in Boston. You're going to be playing in Baltimore. And are the Rays still going to be at the AAA ballpark?
I think the roof of the Trop is finished, so they might be going back.
Are they going to be back in Tampa?
Yep.
Tampa plays a little bit more pitcher-friendly, but the other ballparks don't. So not only are you leaving San Diego to pitch in Toronto, which is more hitter-friendly. Remember, when Josh Donaldson got traded from the A's, we said to you on this program, well, actually, we would have been at 95.7 at the time. I said, you watch, he could win an MVP. And what happened? Not only did he win the MVP, he got the most votes for the All-Star game because you put him in a hitter-friendly environment. And in division, they're all hitter and friendly environments. Well, you're taking Dylan Cease, and now look at the division's a little different when you look at pitching. Now you're not going to pitch it in San Francisco. You know, your home games in San Diego. You're going to pitch all these games in the AL East and all these hitter-friendly ballparks, and you think those numbers are going to get great? Unbelievable. We'll get into that and more. The Naylor deal with Seattle, even though we're not happy about Naylor staying in the division, I'm happy for him. I really like him as a player from his time with Cleveland. I saw what he did in Arizona and then get traded. I'm glad he landed where he did. I think he's a very productive player. So happy to see that. So we'll have a lot to talk about. I've been informed. We had a big meeting here yesterday. I've been informed that some of our players have been offered contract extensions. Now, we talk about this all the time. When it comes to signing players, whether it's your players or it's free agents, it takes two to tango. So for some of our young players, there have been contracts that have been offered. That has happened. I don't think anybody's going to agree to anything while we're into Orlando because it's early in the process. But it's something that we'll talk a little bit about with the general manager, David Forrest, who is going to join us in Orlando. We will also talk to Marc Badain, the manager, who was here. Both of them were here yesterday for our big meeting. Happy birthday to Marc Badain. Turned 50 yesterday. Welcome to the big 5-0 club, Marc Badain. But, you know, something that we'll get a lot into with David Forrest when we get to the meetings in Orlando, you know, what are the needs? We hear so much about second base. We hear about third base. I had a conversation with David Forrest yesterday. We'll continue that conversation live on the air with you guys. Interested in Max Muncy. Is Max Muncy going to be somebody who's being given an opportunity, as we saw him start to really play better in July before he broke the hand? You know, he's got some pop. Does he have the ability, being a former shortstop, playing defensively at third base won't be a problem? He's got pop. Is he gonna get an opportunity? I mean, he's got to be able to stay healthy. It was unfortunate getting hit in that wrist, but can he stay healthy, and can he be a guy that provides 15+ home runs? Tommy White's coming. So that's what I always worry about. And when we start talking about, well, here's your holes and we need to fill those holes. If you believe you have players that are going to come, you don't want to block them. Why? Because you want the guys that you see as your future to be ready when this ballpark opens up in 2028. As much as we are all about the here and the now of 2026, I get it. You want to win games now. I do. I got to cover this. I got to be on every day. I want to cover a winner just like you want to see a winner. But you can't forget the eye on the prize. The eye on the prize is when this ballpark opens up, you got to have these young players turn into their prime and to be primetime guys. You need to find out and establish who those guys are going to be. The model will always be what then the Cleveland Indians, they weren't the Guardians, they were the Cleveland Indians, when they opened their new ballpark up, and it was called Jacobs Field. Now, back in those days, and we're going back into like the early 90s, they had like one big chip, remember the Joe Carter trade that they had? So what they did was they went out and got a bunch of young players. They established young guys through the draft, through trades, and they brought those guys up. A guy that I mentioned earlier, like Sandy Alomar Jr., like Carlos Baerga. They had Charles Nagy. They had this whole core group of young players that they brought up there with Cleveland, and they wanted to have them ready for, I want to say, it was a while ago, but I want to say that was 1995 when they opened Jacobs Field.
Yeah.
It was 95. So what they did is they built up the franchise. They built up the young players. So when those guys were ready, that's then when they came in with free agency, and they brought the free agents in to mix with their young players who are now coming into their prime. And the Guardians, then the Indians, had a terrific run. They played a multiple World Series, unfortunately didn't win one, but they were truly one of the best teams in all of baseball. They set the sellout record for many, many years there at Jacobs Field. And that really is what we're seeing now. It's the same exact model. You find the young players, you build up the young players, and then when you're ready to come into the new stadium, that's when you start bringing in a lot of new free agents to complement them, and away you go. But contract extensions, we saw that with Brent Rooker. We also saw it with Law, Lawrence Butler, and now hopefully we're going to see it this offseason with multiple other players, as Marc Badain, the president of the A's, has arrived. We're going to have him on before we get out of here. But that will be the model. And I don't want to see guys blocked, because let's not forget, I know we talked a lot about him at the end of the season, Leo DeVries is coming. Leo DeVries at some point, whether it's next year, by 2027 is coming, and then all of a sudden you have to start making some decisions, but they're great decisions to have. Well, it's an honor to have him back on the program. The last time we talked to him was at the groundbreaking. He is the president of the Athletics. Marc Badain with us here in Las Vegas at the Ballpark Experience Center. It's spectacular. I think you got to be pretty proud about what you guys have been able to accomplish.
Yeah, really proud of the team. Last night was a special night for the organization. This facility's been thought about and designed and executed upon over the last 12 months plus. And the folks in Vegas who were here, a very influential, very impactful group of people who made it through here were blown away by what they saw. Very excited for this piece of infrastructure that's going to be added to the Strip and bring visitation to town and be another economic driver for Vegas. We really delivered as an organization. It was a proud day.
It was an interesting conversation with one of our employees. She used to work for the Marlins, and back when they were opening up their ballpark, all they had was a trailer. And the model was like this little tiny model of what the ballpark, and we're not disparaging any other organization. It's just the experience centers over time have changed. Technology has gotten better. You did it obviously with Allegiant Stadium when you were president of the Raiders. Talk about the experience of watching it through the years grow to what this is, no question, the best ballpark / if we were talking about an arena or a football stadium. We've never had a center like this before.
It's interesting you brought it up. I was actually just on the phone with John Penhollow, excuse me here, and he's at the night. He was at the Vikings, and we were talking. He'd read about the sales center experience yesterday and was asking me about it. And we talked when he was at the Vikings. They had a great experience center, but that was 10 plus years ago. And you start talking about the different technology and the evolution of technology, and every iteration of these ballpark or stadium experience centers has gotten better and better. And so we're the latest and put together an incredible plan and have executed on this. And we're already getting phone calls from other teams that want to come check it out. Obviously the Cube, I'm sure you've talked about the Cube and the impact that has, not just as a sales tool, but really as a technology tool and an innovation tool to show what the ballpark is going to be about. We're going to be adding elements in that all the time in terms of ways to showcase the ballpark, showcase its location, showcase its value to this community. And I imagine that there are going to be a lot of other teams that are going to want to implement that kind of technology in this product as well.
Well, the other thing I thought about too, when going through this experience, when you're going to be bringing free agents in and building is not quite done yet, you want to show the free agent, what are you signing up for? Well, we have this beautiful model you can see, but wait a minute, let's put you on the field. Let's put you in the Cube. I mean, so yes, if we're talking about selling seats and we're talking about luxury suites and all the different great things that you're going to be able to do as a fan, the potential to bring in a free agent to really show them, put him in the Cube, this is what it will feel like to play here.
Yeah, Brent was here last week and was really blown away by what he saw. And it's great for the existing team to see what their new home is going to be. And then, like you said, prospective free agents, this is a real recruiting tool and will be. And hopefully we'll be able to utilize that technology in the stadium once it's built, and once this place is no longer of use to us, we can move that piece of technology into the stadium, repurpose it, and use it for other reasons.
Yeah, when you talked about the support of Las Vegas, what has it been like for you since you've come on board to run this great franchise? Obviously, what you'd already done down here in the desert, what has it been like for you and all the connections and networking that you've done now being a part with the Athletics?
It's been really special. The community here is one that, unless you've been here and have a chance to get to know people, and you guys are all starting to see that and see the reception and see how closely knit it is here. And there's an underdog mentality of this town, like a nonconformist, maverick, rebellious type of mentality here, where they like to prove people wrong. They like to show people what they can do. The workforce is incredible, how fast they can build things. The tie between the business community and the municipal leaders in this town, when there's a project or something that can drive economic development for here, everybody gets behind it and likes to show the world we can do it better than anyone else. So I've been here about 10 years now and just have had the fortune of making a lot of great relationships. You met a lot of those folks that were here last night, both business leaders and municipal leaders, and then they loved going through the process once with Allegiant, and they're really enjoying going forward with this ballpark experience, the location, and what it's going to mean for the town.
I'm glad you brought up the underdog rule, because now people don't think about it. But when we were growing up, people said you'll never have professional sports in Las Vegas. It's never going to happen. The NFL won't allow it. Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL. It now seems crazy, but years ago, that's what we were told. That's what they were told. They were told you'll never be, even though you're growing, even though you have the biggest fights, you have some of the biggest events, you have the biggest entertainers in the world coming here to entertain, you're not going to get pro sports. That's what they were told, and they showed everybody.
I don't know when you grew up, but they were saying that 8 or 9 years ago. 10 years ago, as recent as 2015 or 2016. So what's happened here has been pretty remarkable in terms of the flipping of the switch. You mentioned the fighting that occurred here, and UFC obviously was born here, and all the championship fights. But you go back to UNLV basketball, you go back to even the XFL when it was here in the early 2000s, was successful out at
Sam Boyd.
Sam Boyd, thank you. And you saw that this community would get behind that entertainment aspect and that sports aspect, and always did. The Pac-12 was one of the first entities to bring a piece of IP here when they brought their tournament here. And this is probably 2014, 15, I may be getting the years wrong. But they saw just this huge uptick in all their measurables: sponsor activation, attendance, mentions, viral mentions, just the response that they got from bringing the event here. They called it the Vegas effect and the Vegas pop. And every sports entity that's actually followed suit from there, going back to the Knights, the Aces, the Raiders, the A's, the Lights, all the teams that have come here since then have seen that same Vegas pop. All the college multi-team events, MTEs that come here, and all the sports properties that have experimented now and come to Vegas have seen that same increase in metrics and support and financial success. It's just a different market. It's a very successful market. It's still, I don't want to say in infancy, because it's now about 10, 12 plus years of professional sports either announcing being here or being here. But you really need to have a footprint here. And when the folks from Major League Baseball were here, you could see that in their eyes, that they were excited that they're going to be a part of this landscape here and what this market can do for a brand and what it can do from a sport. I don't think it's too long before the NBA puts a team here. I was obviously working on that project for a while. They come here with the tournament. They come here with other games. The Lakers come here. You'll see more teams, I think, coming in here for games. You have to have a footprint here. You're the sports and entertainment capital of the world. And if you don't, you're missing something.
I wanted to experience last night. So I went over to the arena, and I didn't go to the game, but I just waited to the game to end. I just wanted to see. And I saw the fans, the Blackhawks and the Knights, and I saw them come out, and I just kind of followed them. And I followed them out, and I followed them, and I saw all the different restaurants, whether it's Park MGM or New York, and I saw them flood into there, and then I followed them into New York, and I saw it. Then I followed, and I started going over the walkway into MGM. So I wanted to see, this is what it's going to be like. And as I got over the walkway, I looked, that's where our ballpark is going to be. I got the sense of, okay, I get it. What you're able to do from a pregame standpoint, what you're able to do when you go into the stadium, and then how you flood back out into all the different casinos and restaurants and everything, you see the vision of how it works.
It's a great observation. The resort corridor's one of a kind, the only one in the world, and able to deliver on so many different types of experiences. I'll give you a couple good examples. When the Knights won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago, Game 6, everyone poured out, just like you were talking about, celebrated in Toshiba Plaza, and then ended up going to various properties. And my wife and I went and met some folks for dinner, and everybody was celebrating, going through the different resorts. And we ended up going back to T-Mobile about 3 hours later to pick up our car. And there was nobody there because the city just absorbed all that. And the very next day, it just went about its business, and there was a convention in town, and the city's sort of like a chameleon. But the ability to handle all of those events is really one of a kind. Same thing happened with the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was an incredible experience. And then you saw how the city was able to absorb all of that activity, all of the people coming to town, both that go to the game and don't go to the game. And I'm sure you've been to some other cities for Super Bowls. It's hard when it's all spread out. And here you had everybody in this concentrated area. And the city is just built for that. The infrastructure is built for that. You heard me mention earlier, the piece of infrastructure that we're building is just another way to support what already exists here, which doesn't exist anywhere else. This 5-mile long place that can deliver on everything, and it's close to the airport, and they're working on transportation issues here to try and alleviate some of that traffic. So they just know how to do it here. The Super Bowl is probably coming back in 2029. I don't think I'm saying anything that anyone doesn't think is going to happen. It's not announced yet, but I just imagine it is. I'm sure MLB will look to us for some of their tentpole events. It's a city that is able to over deliver, and so it's exciting for us to be a part of it and build this incredible ballpark and be able to bring more of that to this town.
Yesterday, you and I were over by the model, and I joked with you like years ago, you never had on your bingo card that you'd be building buildings in Las Vegas. You've done it once. You're doing it for a second time. What's it like doing it for a second time. You got Allegiant Stadium built. Now doing it for a second time, I'm sure it's a little bit different. Some of the same feelings, but there's some difference too. What's it like the second time around?
Well, look, I appreciate all the credit, and I think you know that I'll always defer to thousands of other people that actually made it happen. I appreciate that you're saying I built Allegiant, but it was a lot of people that made a lot of sacrifices and put a lot of time and effort into building a spectacular building, and the same thing's happening here. I'm just fortunate that I get to experience it from the position that I'm in, and what I'm enjoying watching is the group of people that you know and have worked with for decades, who have been through the ups and downs and some good and bad, and the struggles of trying to get a stadium project done take decades. And so the fact that we're real, and the fact that we're 6 months into construction, and the fact that you're seeing the building come out of the ground, the fact that this place is open, seeing the reaction from all the folks here that are now realizing, oh my God, this is actually happening. This is real. We're getting to do this. That's really the fun part. That was probably the best part of the Allegiant Stadium process, was seeing all the growth of all the people in the organization that were able to take on those roles and be a part of something pretty spectacular, and taking the team from where it was, which was sort of in the bottom quartile of revenue rankings and facilities, to the top quartile. And we're going to do the same thing here. So that part, I'm enjoying it from a second time around, being able to see it from that perspective and knowing what all these folks are going to get to experience, as opposed to just being in the lunacy of it and the day-to-day of it for 3 to 4 years in a row.
Well, let's end on this as well, and also this broadcast. The 2026 season, a lot of sharp young talent, a manager that is very excited. A general manager was here yesterday, also very excited. How about, I know we have so much going on here, but how excited are you for the team in 2026?
You always look at direction of the team as a key measurable, and I'd have to say that what we saw at the end of the season, and even when you saw when the team was struggling, how they reacted to it and didn't get down on themselves and recovered from a tough stretch, that speaks to the leadership and Skipper and the general manager and the whole baseball operations team, and how close knit they are. And I've only been around for about 9 months, so I haven't seen that much of it. I'd like to be at more games, and I'll try and get to Sacramento a lot more often next year. But you can tell that this team is building something special. You can tell that 2026 is going to be a great year for the organization, and I'm sure they're looking to add additional talent. But it was a fun team to watch. Every game was fun to watch. They were in every game, and they made every game exciting. And you can tell when you see a team bonding, right? You've seen it. You've been around long enough. You can see how these guys react to one another and pick each up and support each other. So it's a really fun young team to watch.
Well, happy holidays to you and the family. And enjoy everything down here in Las Vegas. And the next time we talk to you will be spring training in Mesa, Arizona.
All right, done.
And the next time we talk to everybody will be next week. We'll be in Orlando, Florida for the winter meetings. I can't wait for everybody to come here. This experience is like none other. You can go to the A's website or go to the A's Twitter, sign up, get an appointment, and you can come see what the future is going to look like for the Athletics. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next week from Orlando, Florida.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.